We have been hibernating on this small moon for centuries. But now the Kharn have been awakened by the asteroid, and we will attack this small planet. The attack begins now. Excuse me, sir. Can I have a word, please? It's important. Sir, the fusion engines aren't online yet, and it's gonna take a little time to get them going. Huh. Okay. The attack begins tomorrow. Sir, we can't attack tomorrow. It's gonna take a little longer than that. Well, when can we attack? In a week? In a week. Okay. You sure? A week? You're sure about that, right? It's a week? Yes, sir. 1 week. Okay. The attack begins next week. Hey, and welcome to the 22nd episode of KREED'S Modern Mondays. My name's Creed, and today we're taking a look at the Final Faction toy line, and we're taking a look at the Kharn. The Kharn are the evil alien threat attacking the Earth in the Final Faction toy line, which was produced in 2020 by Dollar Tree. There are 3 figures in Series 1, and they're all army builder style figures. You've got a Kharn drone with some pretty sweet art of him here on the card. You can see his weapon there, and you can also buy an additional weapons pack for him. The Brute also has some nice card art, and he too can have additional weapons purchased for him. And finally, we have the Synthoid, who also has his own separate weapons pack, but for some reason it's not listed on the box like the others. Here's a quick look at the back of the packaging, and you can see that all of the characters have their own little breakdown of powers and their bio, not to mention the fact that you can see all the Series 1 figures here on each card. And believe it or not, there's a tie-in cartoon that you can actually watch on YouTube, or you can scan one of these symbols to check it out. And here's a better look at the file card for each figure. If you'd like to read them, go ahead and pause now. Here's the drone. Here's a look at the Brute. And last but not least, here's a look at the Synthoid. These are actually pretty well written, and they add a lot to the mythology of the toy line. And while we're on the subject of adding a lot to the toy line, check out these awesome accessories you can get for the figures. The Quake arms are designed for the drones, the shock arms are designed for the Brutes, and of course the Synthoid pack goes with the Synthoid. Here on the back side of the cards, you can see that it shows a more in-depth look at each of the weapons you get in the set, and it also breaks them down and explains what they do and how they work. But I am wasting a ton of time, so now let's go ahead and cut these suckers out of the package. I got a bunch of stuff to open, so let's go. We're just going to rapid fire this. There's a Brute, and here is a Synthoid, and here is a drone. Oh, and guess what? I got another drone. And another drone, because for some reason I wanted 3 drones. And we'll go ahead and open up all these accessory packs too while we're at it. Just tear these suckers open and get to the meat of it. And here we have the 3 drones armed with their stock weapons plus their Quake Arms pack. The blue guns are their typical weapon, and this pack here, that gun there, and this pack right here are included with the Quake Arms pack. These 3 figures and their accessory pack cost me a whopping $4. Now that's what I call bang for your buck, and I'm not even kidding. And take a look at this figure. I mean, are you kidding me? Look at this head sculpt and this paint application. This figure is $1. How are they doing this? I mean, honestly, these are on par with Kenner Star Wars figures from the 1970s, and those cost more than $1 then. I mean, the sculpt on these figures is not a joke. Look at these sinewy arms and these weird alien hands, not to mention the cool hips, and then the iridescent paint that they have on it really sells it. These feet are super alien, and another really cool thing is that they made the legs fold backwards like this. That is super cool. These figures are a win, especially for the price point. Here's a good look at the default pistol that comes with the drone. It's pretty cool. It's got a nice handle on it, a blade on top, shoots out of the barrel there, and overall it looks pretty neat and alien. The drone can also dual wield the pistols because they were smart enough to sculpt both of his hands where they can hold a weapon, and that is great. Now we're going to take a look at the included weapons in the Quake Arms pack. This is called the Grabber. It shoots a piercing projectile that hooks into an enemy and pulls them close. It's a pretty cool weapon, and as you can see, it fits into their hand, no problem. This backpack is called the Acid Spitter. It is super cool looking with this really insectoid-like backpack part. I love this. The acid spitters come up over their shoulders, and you can see you just peg it to their back just like so. I can't stress enough how amazing this looks on the back of this figure. I absolutely love this. I mean, it takes it from okay to phenomenal in my opinion. It's just extra creepy and very extraterrestrial. The last weapon in the Quake Arms pack is the Spike Launcher, which also has a really cool backpack look that you peg into the figure. Even though I like the Acid Spitter better, this is still a really great accessory that adds a lot to the figure, giving this huge, ridged, spiny spike sticking out of his back. It just looks really cool. It also has this Gatling gun style spinning launcher for the spikes, and I imagine that would just tear through its enemies. Alright, here's a better look at the Brute, which you can see has a great face sculpt, much like the Drone, only a little more hardcore. His eyes are recessed in, he's got the cool teeth, and these giant spikes that come off either side of his face. The Drone and the Brute actually have a lot in common, and you can see that basically they're similar, except one's giant and muscular, and the other is skinny and little. There's a lot more detail in the sculpt as well. You can see that even though the legs are similar to the Drone, they really went off back here on this like tendony back toe thing. That looks great. But if I have to pick a favorite between the Brute and the Drone, I do like the Drone a bit better. Here's a look at the Brute's included weapon, which I didn't even realize he had till I opened it up. I didn't see it in the package with him. It's got the handle right there, and here on the front you can see what looks like a giant blade. What I like about this is it's very alien looking. I'm not even sure where it's supposed to shoot out of, but that's what makes it so cool. Now we're going to take a look at the Shock Arms pack weapons that are made for the Brute. This is the Zapper. It shoots a ball of energy that jumps from one enemy to another, getting stronger as it goes. And once again, the sculpt work and design on this is pretty awesome. This weapon is known as the Burrower. It shoots bioblasts that cling and burrow into an enemy, attacking their nerve clusters. That sounds devastating, and again, a wonderful looking design. Finally, we have a weapon that really makes me think of Halo. This is the Core Blaster. It gathers energy right there in the center and fires that out. It's not a very accurate weapon, but it's quite devastating. And here's a look at the Brute wielding some of the weapons from his weapons pack. These look really cool, definitely a lot better than his standard issue gun. Moving right along, now we're going to be taking a look at the Synthoid, who has this cool armored shell along with these weird red eye scanners and this intake right here, or maybe it's a blaster. I have no idea, honestly. It looks more like an intake though. The arms and legs on this guy look kind of like a cross between the Brute and the Drone, even though he has this cool blade arm on this side. But you'll note he has the same backwards facing knees and then the giant alien feet as well. But by far the coolest feature of the Synthoid is that his arms are removable. So we're going to go ahead and pop both of those out. And now he looks kind of like an alien Ed 209, doesn't he? The Synthoid pack comes with 4 extra arms you can attach to him. You have 2 that can go on the back here for extra attacking, and then some extra arms that go on the main body as well. So we're going to go ahead and mount the battle arms to his back. You just go ahead and plug them in like so. Then we're going to go ahead and grab one of his extra arms that come in the pack. This is his needle arm. We'll go ahead and plug that in. And that looks pretty nice. And then he has another hand to replace his blade arm right here. So we'll pop that in. And actually now I want to take the needle arm off and just put his regular hand back on, because you can see he actually has 2 hands now for dual wielding. But I got way ahead of myself. So let's go ahead and look at the Synthoid pack accessories, starting with the battle arms. They are identical, as you can see, and they are energy-based, shoulder-mounted cannons that increase the Synthoid's long-range attack capabilities. As we already established, you simply plug them into his back on these 2 ports, and they match perfectly. They did a really good job with the plastic. As we already established, he also gets a left hand that's got this giant blade armor on the outside, covering up his softer tissue. I'm a big fan of the extra hand, and I'm glad they included it in his accessory pack. The last accessory is this needle arm, which allows the Synthoid to inject nerve toxins into his enemies, temporarily rendering them immobile. That is pretty wicked. Also, I love how all the Synthoid's weapons and arms look very organic. It's pretty sweet. And here's my preferred setup for the Synthoid, him dual wielding the shock arms blasters with his two hands and having his battle arms on his back ready to strike. I think this looks fantastic. Alright, it's time to take a look at the articulation on the drone. Here at the hips, he does have a 90-degree bend up, and his leg can go back a little bit. Then here at the shoulder, he does have a joint that goes around full 360. Head can turn left and right, and that covers all 5 points for the drone. The Brute also has a hip articulation that goes up, but his back leg goes back a lot more, giving him more of a running stride. Here at the shoulders, he does have the joint that goes around full 360 as well. Head can turn left and right, and that covers all 5 points of articulation for the Brute. Finally, the Synthoid has hips that can go forward and back as well, although not quite as much of a range of motion as the other two. And his arms, even though they're removable, they can still be flexed around full 360 if you want. So that covers all 4 points of articulation for the Synthoid. Alright, it's size comparison time, and I realize this is a modern show, but I have to say that the Final Faction figures scale best with 3 3/4 inch action figures. So here they are alongside Wild Bill from the original G.I. Joe toy line and Bespin Luke from the Empire Strikes Back toy line. I imagine they would look great with the 3 3/4 inch reaction toy line, but sadly, I don't collect those. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch today's Modern Monday on the entire Series 1 Kharn action figures from the Final Faction toy line by Dollar Tree from 2020. This was a huge video and it took me a while to get to it, so I appreciate everybody's patience while I got it done. I don't typically take on this many toys in one video. Even though these are fairly straightforward and simple, it's still just so much to cover. I prefer my videos to be a little bit shorter. But hey, if you prefer these longer videos where I cover a lot more toys, please let me know in the comments. If you do like it, I'll try to do a few more like this every now and then. I can't promise you'll get them every time, but I can spike a few like this in here and there. I highly recommend this toy line if you have a Dollar Tree nearby, although I do have to say that all the prices on the figures have gone up to $1.25 since I started collecting them. That's still a fraction of the cost of most toy lines though, and I have to say, for the quality and the backstory that you get here, I think it's totally worth it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please leave me a comment and a thumbs up, and I hope I've earned your subscription. I hope to see you this Wednesday for another episode of Creed's Collection, and next Monday for another episode of Creed's Modern Mondays.